Grand Rising, Elizabeth.
Grand Rising.
Rising.
This is Sister Mama Het coming to you live from the newly adjusted studio here at the Ewald Circle Village Estates for the Grand Rising Elizabeth show. I am Sister Mama Hetaru, and my co-host is Sister Mama Evelyn. All right. Today we have a special guest, Sister Lottie Spady of Earthseed Detroit, with potions and tinctures and things and such. But first, we're going to pull some cards and set the energy and tension for the day. Mama Evelyn, you got your cards ready? Bam!
Oh,
Okay.
both of you going to do some cards today?
Of course, we always
Okay.
do that. Usually. So,
Oh,
Mama
you?
Evelyn, tell us
Show
your
how in
deck.
sync we are.
Uh-huh.
You
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
can go first.
Okay, I've been shuffling. Okay, so I am reading from the Getting into the Vortex cards by the teachings of Abraham from Esther and Jerry Hicks, the deck of 6
Ooh.
relationship cards.
Ooh.
Right, I pulled card number 28, which is a 10, which is a 1. There are many right ways for us to behave. It is possible to live upon this planet with large numbers of other beings who believe and behave in a variety of ways in peace. When you are able to focus in such a way as to allow your alignment with Source, even though others are choosing to behave differently than you are choosing, then you will truly be free from the bondage of accepting the impossible task of getting everyone to agree on one right way. One right way would lead to an endedness. Many right ways allow external expansion.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
Many right ways allow eternal expansion. Hey, we use all we have.
Yes. Everything.
Because we need.
We are mixed gumbo of solutions.
Yes.
And paths to go.
That's right.
So how do we heal from this insecurity that causes all these isms that people feel like everybody got to be like me in order for the world to be right? Well, how do we heal from these isms?
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
That's my answer. Keep learning.
Yeah.
Knowing that the creator, the creator didn't just create one kind of person.
Right.
Take notes and keep learning. Keep your mind open.
What I've learned is that when people try to force their beliefs or their ways or their choices on me, I don't like it. So I need to not do that on other people. That's what I've been learning.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody believes something around food, around how they deal with children or whatever. It may not be beneficial. But until that person recognizes it, and it don't mean you don't share that with them, but that thing that is personal, because what I found out is that religion, and politics. There's a few more other that and people's children. It you can't make people believe something that they just don't believe. Right. And you just can't do it. You just can't do it. I just learned that because when I believed one thing, and then when I stopped believing and that wasn't working for me, then I was, you know, investigating and experiencing something else. I was through with that other thing. You know, like when you through with a person, or you through with a particular thing you did, or you through with going to school, I'm through. Or you, and it doesn't mean that it's anything wrong. It's
Right,
just
right.
we're complete. I'm through with that, and I want to experience whatever's next, right?
The next lesson. That's right. That's
Mm.
what it is.
And I guess that comes with being comfortable in your own space, in your own skin, where you don't feel the need to try to fit in or the need to try to continue that association.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people some people have, when we look at the charts, when there's when there's nothing, when there's empty space in the chart, it means that you've learned that lesson already. You've already taken care of that. Now you're here to learn these parts. That part may be not in your cipher.
Mhm.
So, and then some people, it ain't time for them to, it's, when we want to, like when we go through something, we want to help people skip over the part, the painful part. We want them to skip over because we know better now.
Mhm.
Oh,
You can share,
Mhm.
but they have to go through that lesson. And you're not the orator of when and how and blah 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 and all of that.
Mhm.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait your turn sometimes. But you can share. That's why
Yeah.
I started telling stories like, you need, I was a you shooter. I'm a pusher. Don't like to be pushed, but I be pushing. So
Mhm.
I would say, in my experience,
Mhm.
instead of going, you need to, you know, because sometimes you want to eat a certain way, and then you learn about your blood type and like, nope, that ain't it. That's not what you do. You
Mhm.
need to focus on some other things. So it's so much opportunity out there for so many things. So,
Mhm.
Why
yeah.
is it so hard to find out what your blood type is? For I mean, from the doctor, they act like it's
you know
the
what? You could skip that process. Look, here we go. Here we go. You can skip that process and go to a doula because they can do it with a little piece of paper and prick your finger, and they can tell you what your blood type is.
okay.
Oh,
Ooh, okay.
Look, skip that.
All
And
right.
see, why aren't you know? Why isn't that a part of your chart that you have to ask for? Where's my paperwork? Let me have my paperwork.
Yes. Okay. Are we ready for the second drawing of the day?
Yes.
Let me tell you,
I mean,
Mama had, oh no, go, yeah, before you do that, Mama had could have, oh, what, how, oh, when they used to do the Abby, they,
Oh, dear Abby.
Dear Abby, she could be, common sense. If it's in your house, just stuff, let me check with Mama here. She always got away. It's in your house. I bet you got something in your house you could use. Look at her.
that's that Mr. Dress Up. That's that Mr. Dress Up treasure chest. That's that Mr. Dress Up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mama Evelyn.
Okay. Fire.
Mm.
Forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Very apropos for today, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Let me get my glasses on so I can see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
See clearly now.
6 of fire, forgiveness, Jupiter and Leo.
Mm-hmm.
A shining priestess with flaming heart and robe of roses holds her hands out to others in loving forgiveness. Her focus is turned inward. Her passion for source radiating outward is blessing. She embodies the expansion of light offered from the heart to the world when all is forgiven and loved without limit. The priestess of forgiveness comes to you when it is time for you to examine your heart to find where you have been withholding love from yourself and others. Forgiveness is essential now to let the loving light of the goddess fill your heart. Let your ego and judgment of others go forever by opening to the absolution she represents. Let your world and your DNA be transformed through the power of forgiveness.
I say,
Well, looks like you covered everything we talked about, and both of our cards have the open hands.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
she say, let go of the ego and the ego.
Yeah. Like, and judgments of
we
others.
talked about all of this today.
Yes.
We talked about all of it. And the judgment is, that includes the self part too, doesn't it?
yes.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
I tell you, I've been really practicing, but more than practicing, I've been really absorbing, intentional about forgiveness and about not judging.
Mm-hmm.
And working on myself about not judging me, so that I can just be free and accepting people's yes or no, or how they want to do that, and not making a judgment on it. And it's been so freeing. It's so freeing. Yeah. It's so freeing. I've been one, I think it's being an Aquarian. We're quick to forgive. Always been since a little girl. We fight. In an hour, I'm gonna come down to your house and ask, can you come out and play?
Yeah.
And the mother say, well, weren't y'all just fighting us? Yeah, but that was
That was then ago. That was then ago.
that, right.
Go. Yeah.
That's complete.
I find that within me as a Virgo. In fact, I had a very dear Virgo friend, and us Virgos have a tendency to talk loud and blunt and raw, and people would think that me and her were arguing because that's how we just talk. And then we go to lunch because we work together. And people will be like looking at us sideways like, thought y'all was enemies. Oh, we was just talking, But that's kind of like off from the forgiveness topic. But I'm like you, Queen, in that, well, you see we've experienced that between the two of us, and I'm so grateful, because I don't want to lose my sister. I don't want to lose my sisters, we got too much good between us to let the little stuff divide us. And we got too much ahead of us to let, those little hiccups or big hiccups, keep us apart. I experienced that when I was working at Wayne State years ago as a project manager in facilities, because I'm just now learning how not to just slap people upside the head with the truth. And I was really worse about just bluntly, boom, here's the truth. And, everybody can't just digest that. And then when the secretary saw me, still operating in kindness and professionalism with that person, and even my daughter said, man, how you do that? Why you deal with, because some people come at you just outright wrong anyhow, and so people have asked me, "Well, how you still dealing with them?" Why? Because we got too much, to let that stuff hinder us. And then that's really how Satan can divide us if we hold on to that stuff. We can't let Satan use us against ourselves in that unforgiveness, nor can we let him use us against each other in that unforgiveness. You can't let him just divide us like that. We just can't. You have to forgive us.
Okay. Thank you, Juanita. Thank you. We have our guest, Miss Lottie K.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Are you?
Welcome.
Sorry, I was a little late. Had some technical difficulty, of course, when you're trying to find the Zoom and find the password and get it all lined up. I was like, oh, why is this an issue still? But I'm here.
Keep your blood running. Keep your blood running.
Yeah, keep it on toes, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So, Miss, I sent you the little letter, and the firesider workshop was so amazing. It was amazing. And I learned new things, and I want Lottie to share those things with us about, the firesider, but how she came to how you came to be one of our prominent herbalists and, all around guru of health as far as the plants of the earth.
Yes, well, thank you so much for asking me to join. I have heard so many good things about this group, and it's just been, how things are always vying for our attention, and I was wanting to be in, and then so I'm glad that you asked me again, and I'm glad I was able to make it happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So how did I start out being so what's interesting is I didn't really think this was going to be my path at all. When I was younger, I did have sort of dreams of having a farm, and I had read Little House on the Prairie, and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. I want to farm, and my mother used to. I used to order. Now this is we're all of a certain age, so y'all will know there was a real estate section in the newspaper, and I used to go through and circle farms. I was 10 or 11, circle farms, and I was ordering farm property catalogs in the mail. And my mother was like, she was like to my father, is there something you need to tell me? Because we can't do no farm. No, that's mine. And it was so touching that so they both passed on within the last 12 years. But when I was going through all the stuff in the house, she had this little corner in this closet that still had one of those farm property catalogs and one of my bookmarks as a kid, and just a little pile of little memorabilia about me that that was really touching. And so I mean, like I said, I never really, I acted on it a little bit. I mean, but I really had kind of tucked it away, in the back of my head. And I went on and I went to school for multimedia design. So that's my thing, my jam, started out as website design and, graphic design and CD-ROM design. And of course, social, now it's, evolved into what it is now. And I started working with Vanguard Community Development Corporation. I ran the teen center there and was teaching young people graphic design and website design, and we did spoken word poetry, and we did male and female mentoring groups. So it was just and to this day, that was my most I feel like that was a synergistic time. Like everything just came together at the right time. You know, I was building my Black consciousness, coming out of a lot of stuff. I was divorced, newly divorced, coming out of a lot of stuff, and just cracking myself open to like just new, you know, like whatever, you know, new stuff. And I was learning a lot. And I had so much fun with those young people. And to this day, like a few of them went on to be graphic designers or have their own, you know, food justice nonprofits and stuff, or, you know, I'm still in touch with them. And so it really was satisfying, and felt like I was operating in my purpose, you know. And during my time there was when I read Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And that book was given to me by Linda Campbell, who was I considered her to be my mentor in a lot of ways. And I read that book and I was like, the other thing I read, if you may be familiar with Carter G. Woodson, I read this book about Piney Woods, this school that he has started in Mississippi. And it's an awesome story. And I had found the book in this strange kind of way. Like I went down to this teacher conference at Cobo, and it was for mostly like K through 12 public school teachers. So I was like a community educator. So my views were a lot, I felt like I was like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here because my views were just a lot of different. So I spent a lot of time sort of wandering around the gift area. And there was this guy selling African jewelry and all this stuff. And he had under his table all these bins of books. And of course, I'm like, oh, books. So I'm digging through the books. And I found this book, The Little Professor of Piney Woods. And I had read about him in like Ebony magazine or something like that, Essence magazine. And I was like, oh my God, I'm buying this. And it was like 75 cents or whatever. And I remember I read that book about his story of starting this school. He went from the North back to the South. Who did that in those days? Like that was in the 20s or 30s. You know, he went back South to start a school for sharecroppers' children. And he felt that if they knew how to survive on the land and survive for themselves, that they could make a life for themselves. And he, you know, did it under the guise of like, I'll make them better workers for you, white people. And they were like, okay, well, we'll help you. But some of them knew some people just have that rapport or that kind of way about themselves where people were like, I'll help you. I'll donate wood. I'll donate this. I'll donate that. I read that book in one night. I can remember sitting up in my bed going like, this is what I'm talking about. Because, you know, by this time I'm working with all these teens and, you know, it's more than just the programming was one thing, but you get to know these kids, their lives and the challenges they're facing like on a day-to-day basis with school and the media narratives and stereotypes and poverty and issues and what have you. So I'm like, we ain't just doing no poetry. This ain't just poetry. This ain't just what? This is, you know, so I was really invested. And I read Parable of the Sower, Octavia Butler, and was like, this is what I'm talking about, the survivalism piece. You know, like how do we learn how to sidestep the system in order to be self-reliant, to be independent, you know. So, you know, I mean, and we did a lot with that. We didn't get quite as far at that time. See, it's more popular now, but trust and believe, back then, my boss was like, you want to do what?
You were ahead of your time.
They used to tease me so bad. It was kind of disrespectful, but they would tease me so bad. Like, well, Lottie's just going to live up under the dirt. I was like, I just got to be like that. I was like, all right, well, when it goes down, don't come knocking on my dirt roof. Don't be stomping on my roof. I can't do that. So anyway, you know, I held on. I got vision board books, so I'm like an avid vision board maker. And I do believe, like, look, see, I'll talk about that one later, but like I'm an avid vision board maker. And if I pull out my old ones, you'll see I had lists like, well, what can I do now? I can learn beekeeping, I can learn composting, I can learn gardening, I could learn how to weave, I can learn, my grandma taught me how to sew, I need to get back to that. You know, I'm making all these lists. And this was before I met anybody in environmental justice, before I had met anybody with an urban farm, before I knew what food justice was or environmental justice. Like, this is my path building itself, right? Like, in front of me, and me not even knowing. Like, I did not know. Like, that first list I made, you could not tell me that within, you know, maybe 5 or 6 years, I was working for an environmental justice organization. I had started to learn about land justice, water access and affordability, air quality, food justice, and the clicks were just happening between like what I had been doing in media, which I was like, oh, well, that's something different. It was like, no, it's like all the same white supremacist umbrella that all of this stuff is under. It's the same thing, you know, like not having access to adequate resources to do what you need to do to make your way in life. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is the same stuff. And so, you know, like I said, I was working in environmental justice. I started an environmental justice media program where the young people were making movies with their little flip cams about the incinerator, about asthma, about the effects of perm on the scalp.
Wow.
They were making up these topics. You give youth a camera and a listening ear.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I was like, okay, let's make it happen. So we were doing these green screen film festivals every year. I'm working with East Michigan Environmental Action Council at this point. And I am meeting all these people. Like, I had already met Malik Yakini before. I think I met him at a Bioneers conference before I worked at EMEAC. But still, I'm meeting like a D-Town Farm, and I'm like meeting all these people, you know, and I'm like, wow, you all are really doing it. Like, I'm over here thinking I'm thinking about doing it, but y'all are the real deal. Okay, so I was just submerged in this world, and it was beautiful, and it was great until it wasn't anymore. Because you know how time goes. I got laid off. My parents got sick. Detroit Future City rolled through here and almost put a whole bunch of nonprofits out of commission. Money was tight. Resources were tight. Let's just say some of my naivete and had, you know, I kind of started getting the inside scoop on, you just do something long enough, you're like, oh, I see what it, okay, this ain't this might not be quite as justice as I thought it was. You know, anyway, you go through your own stuff that makes you reconsider and realign and be like, what am I doing? And this is when we get to herbalism, because I got laid off and I was tired. I was tired. I was like, I'm not doing this activist stuff no more. I'm tired. I'm gonna go do this. One of my friends had done a class. We were making shea butter, of course. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And, you know, we made some herbal medicine. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Why did you learn how to do this? And she said she took a class, this guy named Jim McDonald in Waterford, Michigan. I'm like, where's that? And, you know, it was like an intense once a month class for 8 months in herbalism. And I was like, I'm about to do that. I'm doing that. I know now when stuff drops on me like that. At the time I didn't, but I was like, I'm doing that. I was like, I ain't got no job. I don't know how I don't know where Waterford is. I don't even know what herbalism is really, but I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And once again, it was one of those situations where all the stars aligned. I mean, the class was expensive, and all of a sudden, like a friend of mine, another mentor friend of mine was like, well, I'll support you in that. Here, let me give you a donation. Another poetry friend of mine was like, let's do this poetry event. And you know what? You keep the door because you want to do something. What you doing? I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, Lottie, but go do it. My son and his girlfriend at the time got their tax refunds and they gave me some money. I was like, oh, okay. I know this must be the, okay.
Mm-hmm.
When does that happen? You know, it's never happened since. Years ago. So I was like, all right, well, I'm crowdfunding. You know, I'm like, okay, I got half. I got half the tuition, right? It's time to start the class. I'm supposed to be paid in full by the time of the class. And I called a teacher. I don't know Jim McDonald from a can of paint right now. I'm like, do. Hi. Hi, my name is Lottie Spaney, and I want to take your class. And he was like, oh, okay. I said, but can I pay, like, give you a monthly amount, like, for each class I got half, but I don't have the other half. And I really want to take your class, and could I pay as I go? You know, $50 a month, because it was like an 8-month class. And he was like, well, you know, I don't usually do that, but okay. And I was like, oh. So, and it was really, it changed my life. Like there have been, you know, a few of those times in the story of things that literally changed my life by saying yes to, or just being open to it. And this was one of them, because like I said, my parents had both just made their transition, and I was in a very toxic relationship that was literally being like, you going down, you know. And I was just like, there was still a little voice like inside of me that was like, we ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that. You know, we ain't going out like that. So I took that class. I didn't know where Waterford, Michigan was. I was like, so what, do we stay in a hotel? Like, where am I going? And then the guy I was with was giving me, of course, grief. Like, what you doing? Where you going? What you doing? So but what you going to do? And like one of the students in the class had said, well, if anybody needs a place to stay, they can stay with me, because I don't live far from Jim. Jim's a friend of mine. They can stay with me. I said, okay, I'm staying with her. And he was, you gonna stay with, you don't even know them. You're gonna go stay with you're gonna go stay with some strangers. What you doing? I was like, I'm getting the hell away from you. That's what I'm doing. It was my favorite week. Every month it was such a new experience. Like I packed my little cooler full of food, and everybody was already like into, you know, the life, right? Again, another example of sort of living these earth-based lifestyles, you know. And I was like, oh man, this is really something I want to do. And that was 10 years ago. Well, it'll be 10 years next year. And when I came back, my friend Gwen Winston, she was like, okay, come on back, because we need that. Whatever it is you went and did, we need that. Come on back. And everybody I was working with in Detroit that I had said, I ain't working with y'all no more, they was like, so what is it you're doing now? I was like, I'm an herbalist. They're like, come on over here and teach us that then. Then come on. and I was at D-Town Farm, and I think fire cider was the first one of the first classes I taught. I teach a lot of fire cider classes, but I know I took a long time. I don't know if there's any questions or anything. I should pause for a minute or something.
Lottie, your fire cider, that's what got it going there. That was the thing. And you didn't know you was gonna need it like we need it right now. Oh.
I didn't. I didn't. So like it was nice because I already was a community educator. So it was kind of, I don't want to say easy, but it was easy to kind of swap subject matter and use the same format, which was always community centered, justice based. Like, where is the community empowerment in this? I'm not just teaching you how to make fire cider. This is, the greater issues of health, healing, justice, and what have you. So, but fire cider, which I got a jar of it right here. This is this is a medium-sized jar. It's my medium-sized jar. So fire cider, what is it? Here, I'll put it in your cup. So I think fire cider, I think, is a good sort of starter herbal tonic that is easy to make, inexpensive to make, has a load of health benefits, and is pretty accessible. The ingredients are pretty accessible to everybody. So that's one of the reasons why I encourage the making of fire cider. And what is it? What is fire cider? Evelyn, can you tell the people what fire cider is?
Pop quiz.
Yes,
Pop quiz.
It is a combination of herbs and spices. Yeah, because and you let it gestate for a few weeks, and oh gee, what you can take some every day, or you can and you can strain the ingredients out of it. And what Lottie put some in her dehydrator and made her own little seasoning for soups and stuff. I said, whoa, that's a lot to do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and my job was not big enough. I'm letting you know. I won't do like a big old
that.
yeah, that of it. Yes. Mine is sitting on the shelf there waiting on me to try. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Mama
Yes.
had
Mama Evelyn.
Yes.
What's in the fire cider?
Oh, what did I put? What did we put in there? We put what did we put in there? I had my notes.
That's okay. I'll go over.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right. Thank you so much. Thank you. That worked out good. So fire cider, it starts with apple cider vinegar. It's a vinegar infusion. So it starts with apple cider vinegar. A lot of people like to take apple cider vinegar every day anyway. So I always say, you don't have to just take plain vinegar. I mean, you can if you want, but hey, why not boost it up? So the basic fire cider recipe is onions, garlic, ginger, lemons, or any kind of citrus. It can be lemon, lime, orange, and a hot element. That's the fire part. So you can use jalapenos, you could use habaneros, you could use red pepper flakes, you could use cayenne peppers, you could use Thai chili peppers. If you like to grow peppers, it's a great way to experiment. If you have a favorite, we used habanero peppers the day we made ours. And so your base recipe, like I said, and horseradish root. Now that's the only one that can be a little tricky to find, although I think people are carrying it more often because they're like, why are we getting so many requests for horseradish root? But it's like it literally looks like the the bottom part of a horse's hoof, like in their leg. Like horseradish root is about this big, and it's in the radish family, so it's spicy. It's that you're probably familiar. You might be familiar with it. Like it's if you eat meat, sometimes it's served with like roast beef, like that horseradish sauce.
Okay.
It's kind of in the wasabi family, you know, that kind of a heat to it. And it's
Oh.
great. There you go. There you go. Look at this interactivity.
Hmm.
And it's made, it's great for sinuses. It's really great for decongesting the sinuses. Renee said she found pure horseradish powder. Yes, you can use the powder. That probably packs a big punch too, because it's ground so fine. And the only thing is when you strain it, you may want to do, like if you use cheesecloth or
Yeah.
something, you may want to double or triple it up, because you are, and it's okay if you don't mind, but you'll get like that, a sediment in the bottom. Because I've used powdered turmeric, I've used powdered cinnamon, you know, you use what you got, which is another great thing about fire cider, is use what you got. You know, it's like about access. I don't want anybody in my herbalism classes or workshops to feel like, I used to feel like, you know, herbalism is like over there and I'm over here, you know?
Yeah.
And for a long time, it was easier to run in CVS and get, I mean, I would still try to get sort of like natural medicines, you know, as I started to learn more. But it was much easier to go like CVS or Rite Aid or Walgreens or Myers or whatever and grab something than it was for me to kind of get my thoughts together around, oh, I should make a home remedy. Because I just didn't grow up doing that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the fire cider was one of the things that I made first, because so vinegar never goes bad. Vinegar does not go bad. And fire cider does not go bad. If you feel more comfortable keeping it in the refrigerator, you can, but I have never had to keep my fire cider in the refrigerator.
Mm.
So that's the shelf life makes it a great investment. So like I said, the basic recipe is pretty easy to find, but then you can step off from there. And I've added hibiscus to it and made a beautiful red fire cider. I've added, let's see, this is lime, sage, and rosemary. So the sage and the rosemary were in my garden, and sage has a lot of antibacterial properties. Rosemary has a lot of good aromatic qualities too. So I picked my sage and my rosemary, and I used limes instead of lemons because that's just what I had. I see there's a hand up, Juanita.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for bringing us all this awesome information. Guess you were born for this, girl. Let me take, before Queen has to tell me, I need to come on camera. There we go. Okay. So thank you for what you're bringing to us. My question is about the type of jar. Is it a particular jar you have to use?
So let me grab this one. So you can use a regular mason jar. If you use a regular mason jar with a metal top, you need to put wax paper between the vinegar and the metal, because vinegar will work to corrode the metal.
Thank you.
If you can also get these really nice, they're kind of expensive, but I think they pay for themselves in the long run. These are the BPA free plastic tops, and you don't have to put wax paper between the plastic top and the bottom.
So it's still a glass jar.
But it's still a glass jar. And I do always make it in a glass jar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you could not use a plastic jar, but something kind of tells me, I don't know, I just don't think I'd want it sitting in plastic, although we know everything's packaged in plastic, but I do always use a glass jar. I do. Yeah, I got a gallon size jar. This is my 2-quart jar. I have a gallon size jar, and I usually don't make anything smaller than this now. But you can start out with just a quart.
Where are you finding those BPA free lids?
I think I got these at Kroger or Meijer. They're more
Really?
popular. Yeah, they're more popular now. I think they have them as an option in a lot of stores now.
Okay, and you can buy just the lids.
Yep.
Okay.
What are the jars, the size that you have? What do they run? That big one?
How much do they run?
Yeah.
This one, it's been a long time since I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it might have been about $7 or $8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Size jars that Lottie. I can look
This
it up.
is a 2-quart ball jar.
And that's the brand name Ball, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have to have a ball mason jar. That's what they mostly sell, though, in a lot of places, is that particular brand.
I think Sheena and I went to Marshall's. We were pilling around a Marshall's way out by where we got the car. And I'm not sure what they are, but they're that size. They have top, and I spent $4.99.
There you go. I found some at Ollie's. I think I found 2 of these at Ollie's for about the same price too. So keep your eye out for them.
Yeah.
And you might be able to get them a little cheaper. Did you find them?
I see Ball 2-quart wide mouth jars for $19.99. You know,
Oh,
they're probably going up because of the season. I found a half-gallon wide mouth canning jar, 6 count for $39.47. Just pricing them out. But
Oh, that's
they do
Well, that's
sell them
$5 a piece. That was
sell
6
them
for
at-
$36. That's not bad. 6 for $36. That's a 6 2. Where is that at? Look, I'm like, you need to drop that link in the chat. I'm like, 6 for $36. That's like $6 a piece.
Yeah, that's a steal.
That's a good price.
Of course, that's doggone Amazon.
Okay.
I know
Yeah,
they
that's
have
what you
them at
gotta.
Marshall. No. What's our other little? No, Michael's. They sell them at Michael's. I think Joann's. Target sells. We got the little 4 ounces from Target.
Now, Ace Hardware has them. If you're an Ace Hardware shopper and have like a rewards card, sometimes you can, and they'll be on sale. Meijer and Kroger are where I usually find the best prices on them because folks use them for canning. And when it's canning season, you better get in. They'll put them on sale. You better get in and get your jars and get out because they be like, okay. So
when in canning season, I don't do that stuff. So
I don't can either, but it's usually starting in the middle of summer. I think people start getting ready for it as things become ripe and they start harvesting a lot of stuff. I mean, you can can all year round, but like if you think about at the farmer's market, you start kind of thinking seasonally what's going to come in, what's coming in season that you want to can, which would be like your berries, your stone fruits like peaches and stuff. And that's usually a little in the middle of summer, so just keep an eye out. But the craft stores, like you said, also have them. And so you got to watch Amazon because they'll make you think it's a deal. Like, look, I got one for $20. It's a great deal. You're like, I know that's not a deal.
So price. Always compare prices. Always.
Yeah. And then, like I said, you can put a lot of different stuff in it. So I think we put, now this is one that I made. This was my experiment with extra habaneros. What'd you say, Evelyn? Are you on mute?
Yeah, unmute yourself, honey.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I was saying this one was one that I made as an experiment. It's got extra habanero peppers in it because mine never was that hot. and spicy. It was warm. It had a warmth to it, but it wasn't, I wanted the fire. I was like, I want to see the fire. So, but you can use like cinnamon chips or cinnamon sticks. You can use clove, a little bit of, I wouldn't put too much clove, star anise. I've used sage, basil, oregano, parsley, calendula flowers, burdock root. If you're into some additional healing herbs, burdock root is great. Fresh turmeric root is great. I've used rose hips because I go outside and collect up rose hips. They're high in vitamin C. Add rose hips. I like it because it's sort of like a it's kind of crafty, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you can be like, oh, I know what I want to do. I've done orange slices, you know, and then it looks so pretty when you first layer it up. Like I've shaken this up a lot, but when you first like layer it all up and everything, it's all pretty, and you be like, I made this. This is let it sit for 4 to 6 weeks, and you strain it. You don't have to strain it. Once the you don't want any of the ingredients to be sitting like exposed to the air. So once the level of vinegar goes down enough, you know, you're going to want to strain it. Now, what do you use it for? Now that you got it, what are you going to do with it? So you can take a shot. I take mine in warm water because you want to be conscious of your tooth enamel. You want to just, you know, you don't want to be washing vinegar over your tooth enamel every day. But I put it in like a warm water and a shot in a teacup, like having my tea. You can drink it like that. You can mix it with honey. That's a lot of people mix it with honey once it's done for sort of a sweet, spicy kind of tonic, and you can add as much honey as you want. I use this for salad dressings. I use this in my greens. I use this in my beans, in my soup, in my stew. Anything that you would use vinegar for, it adds so much more flavor and antioxidants. And wow, look at that. It just popped up there. It adds so much, it's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It boosts your immune system. It will help decongest if you have a cough or a cold coming on, or if you're in the throes of it. You know, you could use it like a hot toddy, you know. So it's a really a good multi-purpose health tonic. And like I said, it's pretty easy to make. You just chop up all your ingredients, put them in your jar, and cover it with apple cider vinegar and give it a little kiss. Put a label on.
Mama Heston, your hand is up, babe.
Yeah, Lottie, is this to be do you need to take this? Wait a minute. I know my cousin makes the fire cider, and it says on the bottle, "Do not take on an empty stomach." Is that something?
Yeah, I mean, it probably varies per person, but that's not a bad idea. I mean, you do think about a hot, spicy, you know, a hot, spicy
Action.
vinegar,
Right.
you know.
And you know what else? When my cousin gave it to me and I tasted, I said, let me videotape when people taste it for the first time. Because when you taste it, your palate is satiated, and then like you take another breath, and then it's like you're like, oh, you can feel the cleansing happening, like pow. It is really funny to videotape, like when a baby has a lemon for the first time.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
Well, you're right. You're right, because there is that first initial, right, like you said, there's that first initial like, okay, I'm tasting it with my first set of taste buds. But that ginger is an accelerant. Ginger makes stuff move through your system. Like that's, why it helps move things through your system. And then those hot peppers are also, they open like you said, everything opens up like whoosh. My one friend, one of my one of the young women who were in one of the classes, she was like, I tasted that fire cider and it was great. And I immediately started sweating.
Look, the hair, your pores and your scalp start opening up.
So that's why. So I'm glad you brought that up because, okay, first of all, fire cider shouldn't be a punishment, and it shouldn't be like truth or dare. You know what I'm saying? Like to take it, it shouldn't be like, I dare you take this, man. It's gonna.
You need to let people know.
Yeah, that you can control the amount of heat. You can play around with the amount of heat. If it's not hot enough, you can always add more red pepper flakes or a different kind of pepper to it. Honey, the sweetener, will take the edge off the heat.
Okay.
And it takes the edge off. So vinegar, burdock root. Okay, let me back up. I'm going too fast. Vinegar can have sort of a rough, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not smooth going, it can be kind of rough. So honey helps with that. If you add burdock root to your fire cider, burdock root has properties. It has a lot of natural sugars. It's not sweet, but it has a lot of natural sugars. And if you were to make just a burdock root infused vinegar, by the way, you can get burdock root at an Asian grocery store. If you're not to the point of going digging it up out your backyard, it's okay. But they do have it at like well-stocked Asian grocery stores. 168 Asian Mart is where I go get mine. It's really inexpensive and it's a really healthy root vegetable. But if you were to take plain apple cider and just put burdock root in it and then taste the two side by side after about a week, you would see what I was saying about how it mellows out that bite of the vinegar. It's just got a lot of natural sugars in it that make it another way to make it more smooth and pleasant. So so it's supposed to be pleasant. Yes, it's medicine, but we're not you don't want it to be so spicy to where folks are aggravating their digestive tract or their stomach or their throat, or it's just like unpleasant.
Lottie, would you mind sharing with the ladies the term about fire cider and what happened?
Sure thing. Because that's another reason I teach these classes is I've always taught the classes, but I got really, really, really into teaching them after okay, so I have my book here. I'll talk about this book in a minute. I will talk about this book in a minute, but I wanted to get the dates straight. I should have done this beforehand. However, I'll wing it. Here we are. They don't really have the date of the case, so I can look it up. Anyway, long story short, fire cider. So fire cider has been around. Nobody really knows. Like, trust me, everybody and their grandmama, probably from Africa to Mexico to all over the world, have been probably making a version of vinegar-based health drinks or tonics or medicine. It evolved over time, and so there was one woman by the name of Rosemary Gladstar, who is a herbalist from way, way back. She's from Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountains, and she started, I don't know if she started in the 70s, but she was really popular from the 70s, 1970s, like a lot of curriculum and a lot of teaching. And she talked a lot about fire cider. And she taught a lot of people how to make fire cider. And fire cider was one of, like I said, the first thing, that's one of the first herbal tonics I learned how to make. And so everybody was always excited about fire cider. And every year, pretty much, people would get together in their homes, like we do in our classes, and make fire cider. And so, as it goes in this capitalistic world in which we live, someone decided, there was a company by the name of Shire City Herbals. Shire City Herbals thought it would be a good idea to sell fire cider in their store. Ain't no problem with that. You know, we all got fire cider. So they made Shire City. They didn't even call it, they just called it fire cider. They didn't even say Shire City fire cider to make it theirs or whatever. They just called it fire cider. And started bottling it up and putting it on the shelves. That was fine until they decided they was going to trademark the name fire cider. And they decided, as a part of trademarking the name, that they would tell all the other community herbalists that they had to stop using the name.
Wow.
And so they started sending cease and desist letters to herbalists, like herbalists that are bigger than me, but still not big. Like we're not, you know what I mean? Like nobody is balling being an herbalist. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But so they started sending cease and desist letters and wanted to get an attorney. And they even sued a few of these small herbalists for using the name fire cider. Well, don't you know? So Rosemary Gladstar and two other women, Nicole Telks, and I always forget the third woman's name. It started as a protest movement. They started a website called Traditions Not Trademarks, and they started talking a lot about, you know, just protesting. Like we got like a, move.org petition signed with over 20,000 signatures. And, you know, a lot of community members just started pushing back and saying, you can't do that. You can't do that. And they decided, Shire City Herbals decided to sue them for defamation of character and trademark infringement. So this is where it gets to where the meat of how I plug into it too. Shire City Herbals even created like an origin story, which might have been a real origin story. Like I said, we all probably have a fire cider maker somewhere on our family tree somewhere. So they were like, well, no, this is my grandfather's recipe. He made the first fire cider and he's from Poland and he came and he made this and this is why it's ours. This is why it's mine. And they were like, that might be true, but that's not the only story. But see, they were trying to what? Control the narrative. That is what they do when they get ready to co-opt, take over, and make a huge profit off of some community created and developed stuff. They create a narrative and then they control the narrative. And they make it to where that's all you hear. Like, this is what we're doing. So Rosemary Gladstar and friends decided that, well, no, they didn't. Well, they were like, all right. So they sued them. And they said, okay, well, they got a pro bono attorney who was interested in the case and took it on. Now, they didn't expect them to come back and be like, okay, let's go. Let's go. And they fought him back on the case. And it was so cool because, I like that they, throughout the story, like you can still read about the story on, these websites I was talking about, but it's like they still maintain their values in the whole thing. So like when they were going to court every day, they would like have their blankets spread out on the courthouse lawn, and they was packing sandwiches and offering them to the guards. Like, did you eat today? Whereas, this other entity is trying to be all, power, like how we're going to power through, we're going to squash you on this case. And because they even tried to talk to them, it's like, why are you doing this? And they told them, the Shire City Herbals was like, we're just trying to protect the name for everyone. And then they were like, well, then why don't you get behind a community common use, like common use law, as opposed to you trademarking the name for is not helping all of us. Hello, we not stupid. Like what? That's for you. We doing this for y'all, for all of y'all. So, so long story short, they won the case. They were like, fire cider is a term like spaghetti sauce. Like, you can't trademark a broad, generic concept. That'd be like trademarking like roast beef. You know what I mean? So they won the case. They won to where Shire City Herbals could not patent the case. But the other part of it that was so wonderful, that I still get all shivery about, is as a means of community protest, and it got so much publicity, it went viral. Like fire cider went viral. People were holding fire cider making parties and posting pictures and being like, Shire City Herbals, like, look at the fire cider we made. We're making fire cider. So they were like parties all the world over making fire cider. And so to me, this story is such an example of community power, especially because, we don't have, it's hard. Community wins are difficult. There's a lot of power and money and people behind keeping things exactly the way they are, and the power not in our hands. So I always lift this story up as how the fire cider got free. That's what I always talk about, how the fire cider got free. Because on so many levels, it showed this community organizing, this organic community organizing around making our own medicine, first of all, which is empowering in and of itself. Getting together as a community and doing a thing that pushes back on this larger systemic issue, and actually winning this legal battle in court. And this book here, which I love this book, Fire Cider, it's by who? Rosemary Gladstar and friends. This came out of that too. They published this book during the struggle. So this is yet another evidence, where they got all these other herbalists, plus it's beautifully graphic design. The multimedia person in me loves this book. And Sophie Tucker's Red Hot Remedy. You gotta be loved to be healthy. So it documents the history of like all these herbalists from across the nation contributed recipes and essays. And I think there's even a poem and a fire cider song in here about the history of fire cider. And this, this is added to the public, the public domain, the history, the timeline of fire cider. So many good things came out of this humble little, like I said, this humble little vinegar tonic just really holds a warm and spicy place in my heart, as well as my gut. So
Lonnie,
it's,
we're gonna have you come to the Lizzie's Conversation Kitchen, and we're gonna have to have some fire cider tea or blah blah
I would
blah.
love
Maybe
to do
cook with
that.
some greens. You know, I like the greens idea, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I would love to do
gotta make
that.
a date. Gotta make a date.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I loved because
I'm
I
gonna
love.
call you. I'm
Okay,
calling you. I'm sitting here thinking this thing. All of us probably thinking the same thing. That look like Lizzie's kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow. That I
Thank you,
love that
Lonnie.
story. I love that story, how we triumphed.
I do
Um,
too.
Mm-hmm.
I would also want Lottie to share her fabulous collages. I mean, if there's a collage master, Miss, she's it. She is it. So, yeah, I mean, her books. I, I actually found I got a picture to share with you, but I have to attempt to find out how to get it off this old Samsung. A picture that we did at over there, where you had just started making your butter, your shea butters and stuff, I think, and we sat up across from each other. I got a picture of your table. But I couldn't send it to myself last night. It wouldn't come. So I've got to figure out what I can do. But years ago we were over your house. I got pictures where, we had invited a henna artist, and it was me and Mama Sumara.
I think
And
that was at Sanaa's house.
well, that's
The henna artist, I think, might have been at Sanaa's house.
okay. But
Yeah.
you brought her journals of collage about her life. Ooh, I was just like, ooh,
Yeah, well,
it's just fabulous. So if you could show us a few things.
okay, I will. Thank you, Evelyn. Me and Evelyn go a long way back, as you can tell. To paper dolls seem like. So two things I'll share. Now I'm gonna see if I can get this to where y'all can see it a little better. Visually. So I got one of my collages right behind me here. Let me see if I can give me a second to get oriented here. I hope you're able to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big one. This one's framed and in my kitchen. And this one is what I would call an intentional collage. I made this one in 2016. I was just doing a video about this one because it's coming on its 10-year anniversary. And this one is intentional because I went and actually found images to represent what I wanted to put down. So it's a lot of badassery on this board. It's a lot of guns and women women in the woods with big knives. and, and Harriet Tubman standing there with a nice big rifle. And we got Octavia Butler on there. This is Hildegard von Bingen. She was a 12th century abbess. She was an herbalist. She was a composer of music. She was a mystic, and she was one of the few, probably, I don't know if the only, but one of the few women who she wrote spiritual texts. And in that day, of course, that was ruled by men. And they had to vote, go to court and vote, is she really being channeled by God, or is she a heretic?
Oh.
Because if she's a heretic, we're going to have to kill her. So they voted that she indeed was getting channeled from God. And I was like, go ahead on, Hildegard. But she's an herbalist and an abbess. She ran the abbey. And I learned about her in one of my herbalism classes, so I put her on there. And we have, in the center, I think glare might be hard for you to see. In the center is
See
Queen
some big one then? Uh-huh.
Queen Hatshepsut, an image that's supposed to be Queen Hatshepsut.
I can
Which
see her.
she was my when I divorced. These a lot of these were energies that I wanted to channel into my healing process. And Queen Hatshepsut was one. So she was the queen who would be king. She ruled as a king, as a pharaoh. Everyone knew she was a woman, but she was like, well, you do what you got to do. And she took the people to Punt and did spice expeditions and brought back plants and trees. And they ruled in a time there was not a lot of war. She was a very successful ruler. And I named my Hotmail account Hatshepsut 2. You know, I was like, I needed her energy to pull me through this divorce, you know, so I wanted her energy on there.
All right.
Harriet Tubman is another person that I study even more now around her knowledge of survival skills, herbalism. Like we talked about that in our group, Evelyn, about what does it take to go to freedom and then come back? And then go to freedom again, then come back.
I know that's right.
It's and crazy. Then come back. And to do it all while you have a disability. Because she had a serious brain injury that had her in vulnerable place. And we talked about how that was nothing but spiritual cartography. Her spiritual download could have her do that. Because, what does it take? So yet another energy that I wanted. And we have, I said Octavia Butler. We have Sarah Connor from the Terminator. And
everybody needs.
And then I put like some places I have my mother's name, I have my grandmother's name, and I wrote some things underneath those cards. So long story short, that's an intentional vision board for gathering. I think you can gather like an ancestral team, and it could be community ancestors, your own ancestors, or like I said, some of these archetypes of goddesses, or ancient ancestors. Assemble a team that is working for you behind the scenes toward what you want to accomplish. And this board, I'm telling you, at one point I was like, I'm gonna need you to slow down, board. It was like, here you go. How you want to do this? You want to do that? You said you wanted to do this. I was like, okay. There's like an archer, a woman with a bow and arrow. There's yeah. So that that was I worked for a very long time with intentional boards. I would do boards that represented a problem, which I don't have any of those with me right now, but I would do some that represented a problem and then overlay with like solution on top of it, to very intentionally craft. But I wanted to spend time with the problem creatively also. You know what I mean? So that may seem odd to do a collage sort of dedicated to the problem. It helped me think through what was the problem, what were the roots of the problem, and it also opened up those channels for, I think, more solution, maybe that I hadn't considered to kind of come through, or it helped me understand that I was doing better than I thought I was. We can get kind of down on ourselves, and doing the collage of the problem or just the evolution of the problem helped me see ways I was like, okay, I'm okay. I am okay. So the current iteration of my collages is mostly intuitive collages. And I started doing intuitive collages. I can't recall kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I'll just say intuitive collages helped me a lot. I was adopted, and I went through a big, over the last 3 years, I've been doing an excavation process around being adopted, finding biological family, unpacking some deeper things in my upbringing, in my childhood. You get to why am I like I am?
Yeah.
That's the question. You'd be like, but why am I like that? Why can't I, or why can't I get beyond that or whatever? So it was interesting doing those intuitive collages because stuff was coming up. So by what I mean by an intuitive collage is I keep like boxes of stuff that I tear out all the time, and I would just either use a color scheme or I would just close my eyes and reach in the box and grab a bunch of stuff. And I had to work from there. And I was always surprised at there would be messages that would come out, you know? So now what I do, this is my like daily planner. And another way, it also helps keep me, I tend, you know, how I will sometimes tuck my art on the back burner, right? And won't do everything. I won't make time for my art. So I make a collage now for every month. And in my journal, just so I have a little quick, like, creative moment here. And usually these are intuitive. I'm going just by color scheme. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, this came out purple, green, but I really like the way I was able to include, this is my Parable of the Sower ticket. I went to the opera Parable of the Sower and was able to include some gardening stuff. And I think the message here was being a dreamer. Yeah, it's about being a dreamer. And the message is, do the universe a favor. Don't hide your magic. That's what came through on that one. And another example was, where is this other one here that I like all of them. Oh, this was a cute one. I like the color palette. It's all these pastels. It has like a retro feel to it. And I was really going through some stuff around family, like making time for family. And this really ended up reminding me of my mother, who was a great cook. And she just reminded me of this sort of retro feel of the kitchen and like baking pie. And it says on here, finding time for pie, which was like and having pie at home. And these are cut out of magazines. Like I found that phrase and it all went along with family, you know, like that feels familial to me, like making time for pie. Let's sit down and have coffee. And then the latest one I did kind of goes along with almost so now I'm circling back around. This was an intentional collage, which I haven't done in a while, but I wanted to re-earth those powers that I wanted to work with. We have Osiris, we have Kyloch, who is an Irish, a Celtic symbol for the crone, like getting older, women's wisdom.
I like her weapon. I like her weapon, her staff.
Oh yeah, again, women with sticks and women with knives and women with weapons. And here's Queen Hatshepsut again here. Yeah. And I cut out the butterfly for transformation. And this was around Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. So I have some marigolds. So this was around like channeling the ancestors, time for change. So yeah, I still use my collages to just help me work through stuff. And it's meditative and calming and cheap. Glue Stick magazine. Let's see. Juanita had her hand up.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if you do virtual vision board workshops or collage workshops. And I'm thinking this is such a powerful healing tool. My approach to the things I'm doing now are based on sharing the healing power. And so I'm just wondering how people could access you virtually, that I could share as another way of sharing the healing power.
Yeah.
Sharing the healing power of vision boards, sharing, I guess the vision board is somewhat of a collage though, right?
It is. But you're right. The healing power, yes, it's both. It usually ends up, I mean, yeah. It could be a collage, or I think they're both.
So anything virtual coming up?
I would have to schedule something, but I have done
Mhm.
several online vision board sessions.
Are they
And
available, accessible,
um
recordings?
so I don't know if they were usually done as part of a, like, say this group wanted to do one and it wasn't, like, I don't think recorded and put out to the public.
No.
I'm happy to do one. I have a few videos on my YouTube channel where I am sharing about vision boards.
Okay, so you have a YouTube channel. I'm sorry.
Mhm. And so
Well,
there's a few videos.
I gotta take this, you guys. But I'm listening. I'm listening
Okay,
to
this
both.
is recorded. Yeah, this is recorded too. So that's good.
Yeah, there are a few videos where I talk a little bit about vision boarding and but you're making me think. I mean, I would like to do more online vision board sessions. I should just say I am going to do
Come on with it now.
because I don't know if I'll be able to do an in-person one. I wanted to do an in-person one before the end of the year, but you know, when the snow starts flying, I'll be like, okay, that's it.
Yep.
That's it till spring. But yeah, I would love to do that because they are healing tools for healing. I definitely consider them to be tools for healing. I'd have to bring out the one I did through the adoption excavation process because those were on point. It was just like it just kept coming up to the meat of the problem around the right to exist. Like, you have the right to exist. I was like, I didn't know it was about to go. I was like, is that what I'm struggling with? Like, but very therapeutic, very, very therapeutic. Definitely a healing tool. That's what I meant by going beyond goal setting. Like, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with how a person may vision board. If they want a car, they put their car on the board, that's fine. If they want whatever you put on it is fine, you know. But I also was exploring, like, even with this one, how do I use it in a deeper way toward either, you know, goals or being a better version of myself, or, like I said, working out problems and for healing.
So, you bring so much to us, Mama Evelyn and Queen Adoni and Mama Het. I really, really am grateful for you guys bringing Sister Lottie to us, and y'all know my mind be churning. So hopefully, hopefully we can see you again. Because today, what I am experiencing with you is like an overview of, like, oh, so much stuff. So I'm hoping to see you more on the Elizabeth show, focusing on different aspects of what you do. Hopefully, you know, that healing power, it's healing power in all of it. It's just kind of like the essence of you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing when we're going to hear more of you here on the Grand Rising Elizabeth show.
Yeah.
Guys.
I just want to say, I've
Pleasure.
been gifted Lottie a few times in life. I met her with a friend of mine from church when we were in high school, and then we were at college together, and then we both mentored some of the same children, and so that it's just been really fun. And then she taught she was a bring, you know, they taught at ISIS's school. So I mean, 6 degrees of connectivity. Let me just say that. So I'm just so thankful and grateful for my path with Lottie. I'm just so grateful. So grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful
Honey, is
for
this
you.
your school?
No, that's not my school.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
That's the school, Piney Woods. That's the school that
But she was talking about that
yeah. The one down south. Because there's a
Oh,
Lottie,
okay.
wasn't there a movie about the Piney Wood? Didn't I
You
think
know,
I
there
saw
might have been. I don't know, and I'm not sure. It's crazy that this school is still. It's crazy in a good way that this school is still in existence.
Mm.
And I don't know how it functions.
because it was a border school. The children
It
went and
was a
lived there,
boarding
didn't they?
school.
I
Yes.
remember. I think I watched a movie about it.
Yeah, it was a boarding school, and when it first, so I don't know how true it stayed to Carter G. Woodson's original model, because at the time
Right.
he made the school, sharecroppers would, it was, so he was like, they would come with a jar of molasses and a pig, like, here's my tuition, and he's like, come on, come on.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Here.
so I'm not sure when it became a boarding school. You know what I'm saying? Like how things
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. If
under
they held,
different leadership.
sometimes people come and get the name and do a little thing, but
Yeah.
but I think I'm looking at the Mississippi Public Broadcasting Network, and they're showing. So I'll put this in the link.
And let me see if I can find the book, because it really was a great book.
Yeah, I put it in. I think I put
Oh,
it
you
in the
did? You
chat
found it?
already. Was
The
it the
little
brown, the orangish color? Let me see.
It was called
I don't know if I put it.
The Little Professor of Piney Woods.
Oh no, I don't think let me see. I don't. Where am I going? Chat. I think the book I pulled up was orange. I'm not sure.
But I'm sure there
I
are probably,
think,
more than one book written
yeah.
about him. But that one just really let's see, here we
Yeah,
are.
pull it up, Lottie, because I don't think I followed through. I think I stopped.
And you can
I was
see,
on my
you
phone.
might have to get it off of like thrift books, or I mean, I
Yeah,
see
that's
it
where I
on.
did go. Let me see.
Okay.
Thrift books or Abe books, Abe books, Abe.
Yeah, or Abe books, because it is older. They have it on. I'm gonna put the Amazon link, but of course, go to wherever your preferred shop is. But it was written by a journalist. It really did a good job, I think, of telling his story when he eventually married. It really captured his spirit about it. Like, it always stuck in my mind how, like, in the beginning, we can be skeptical of somebody coming into our area saying they're going to do this for our people. We're going to do this. I'm going to start this school for your kids. And they're like, my kids don't need to be, who are you? Like, my kids may not need to be sitting up under you. You might get them in trouble. You might get them hurt. Like, who are you? And so he would just kind of go and sit in the middle of the piney woods in Mississippi, sit in the middle, sit on the log. And he would study each day, read the paper or whatever. And it was just so cute how he said, "Oh, that's the one you found."
That's one. That's one.
I put it in the chat, the link to the book that I have. But like I said, there's more books. And he said one day he was just sitting there reading his paper, and he just kept hearing this little rustling in the woods and a little more rustling in the woods. And all of a sudden, like, one little boy came walking out and was like, "Are you still gonna teach us?" And he was like, "Yeah, come on." So he went and sat on the log. Next thing you know, here come another little boy. Can I come over there too? And he was like, "Come on, sit on the log."
Yeah.
And so they would just meet up and sit on the log. And and the school went through some, they built the school. The school got I don't forgot whether it was a fire or a storm that knocked it down. And he was like, "Oh man, we gotta start over." And them kids showed up, and their parents the next day was like, "Hey, we about to fix it and keep going."
I know
So
that's right.
a heartwarming. It was such a heart. I loved that book in particular because it was just a heartwarming story, and that was the essence that I wanted to share with the youth that I was working with. So I don't know what Piney Woods is doing to this day, but that era of time really stood out for me.
I'm kind of thinking that I wonder if I'm gonna have to ask Mama Ned, because she helped start the Freedom School, and I'm gonna ask her about if there was a connection, similarity, or knowledge of the Piney Woods School, because Freedom School kind of reminds me you know, the importance of
Mhm.
us teaching us about
Yeah,
our history.
right.
The Freedom School is at the African World Museum, right? Is it there?
Yeah, yes. Mama
Yeah, RJ
Hanifa,
was
they
too
had
young.
gardens and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Girl, I
too young,
taught
but
them kids at that Freedom School how to make what?
Fire cider.
I sure did. I had the little kids, they had their little horse, they was grating their little horseradish up, and they was like, woo, Miss Fanny, this is spicy. I was like, yes, that's right, because it's a what? They were like, it's a decongestant. I was like, we
Come
were
on,
nerding
teach
out.
them, baby.
We were nerding out up
wow.
there. I was like, now everybody all together now say decongestant.
Decongest.
What
Wow.
do you, I mean, what do you do? What service or where do you work, or do you have your own business out or in your home, or how do we, what?
So Earthseed Detroit is my primary business now.
Mhm.
I'm more active in the spring and the summer because I teach a lot of classes. So I'll teach at like Keep Growing Detroit, or like different farms, and I'll do classes. I have an online Patreon group, and I teach herbalism and seasonal living. And I live out in Clarkston, Michigan, and I have a homestead, and I have people come out, and I do plant identification walks and herbalism studies. I've done camp overs. I've had youth come out. So, and I do other stuff. We do a whole bunch of stuff, don't we?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
facilitate.
Field trip.
Yes, field trips are. You can always come out here for a field trip, a day of it. I facilitate, so like I have to supplement my income by doing things like facilitating retreat, like not corporate but nonprofit retreats, and I do a bunch of different stuff. Right now I'm kind of on I'm trying to figure out what the next thing is, because I make herbal medicine. I have an online store where I sell herbal medicine.
What's your website?
It's Earthseed Detroit. Everything is under,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. Earthseed
I had
Detroit.
it up. Didn't I have it up?
That
Okay.
was the Instagram. I think you had the Instagram.
Yeah, that was
page.
Instagram. Yeah, that wasn't your site though. I mean your website. Let me pull that up.
Right.
Did you put it in there? I think that was your YouTube.
Here, let me do
Earth.
this. Let me do it again. I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
all one word, Earthseed Detroit.
We're doing that.
Hmm.
On the website, you can keep up with classes that I'm offering. I'm really trying to grow the Patreon group, which is a monthly subscription group. It's a lot of different levels. There's my website. And then here you can get to the Patreon, you can get to the store, you can get to the classes, and keep up with what's going on. If you have any questions about anything, you can always just email me. I'm very accessible. I love to talk about herbs. Yeah, there's a Patreon membership. So, for as little as $3 a month, you can be connected to a growing community if you're interested in more. Now, my classes, I can show that real quick before we go. Like the $20 a month level. I mean, it's not this, it ain't like school. I'm not about to be like, okay, are you here? But we are working to we're gonna make a herbal binder here. And I put together some of the things I put together for the group as learning tools are like, you have these full circle sacred living goal planning for the year. You have herbal recipes that I send them. You can color them yourself. I send them so that you can have fun with them. Like, this is a lemon honey syrup recipe. Then we study usually about an herb a month. So we did white pine, and then I send over the notes on it, the medicinal properties, but also I do the spiritual and energetic properties of the herb as well. And I usually do So, I mean, like I said, I kind of switch it up, but I'll do like full moon card readings. It's all about seasonal living, like with the Wheel of the Year. We'll study crystals. Like this is my tiger eye page. So it's really just what do I want to call it? A earth-centered community of learning.
Mhm,
That
mhm.
sounds good.
Yeah, that's-
It does.
Write that down. Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. Let me write that down. It's
They're
an
all-
earth-centered
yeah,
learning.
they're all past more than 4 letters.
Yes. So, so we can do whatever you want. Like I'm really open to stuff. I love to have, like, if your group, say in the spring or when the weather gets a little warmer, whatever is comfortable for you, wants to do a field trip out here for the day, have lunch, be on the land,
I can
just
take
kick
7
it about stuff. You know, I am open, definitely open for that too. So
Hmm.
whatever you
That
want.
sounds good. I want to do that. I
Yeah.
want to do that.
I want y'all to do that.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And how
too
many
much. Like,
people can
gotta
you
come back.
handle out there? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's right. Go. No. Stay. Do you do yours and then I'll talk because mine was going a different area.
Yeah, how many people can you handle out there?
Um,
Is it a farm? Is your
It's
farm?
a homestead. Yeah, it's big. It's like 3 acres. So it
Okay.
could be, I mean, 25, 30 people, you know.
And you said they can sleep so we can stay there?
So if they were gonna, they would, okay.
Camping outside.
Camping, I have room for camping. I don't have yet any like, there is I've thought there's a motel that's not far from here. That's a clean and nice looking one that I've thought about contacting them to see if, you know, like, because I was like, oh, I could do probably a little herbal retreat, you know, if folks wanted to do an overnight. But right now, I think it's easiest if people want to camp because I don't have to
Yeah.
coordinate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
camping is fine. I could have about we did that one Juneteenth event. I had, I think, 22 tents. Was crazy.
Oh, that must have been wonderful.
It was great. It was
Yeah.
great. So,
Yeah, Mama,
so
here, maybe you can take me up. We can ride out there, and anyone else, just so
Uh-huh.
I can see. We can see the facility
Exactly.
and
Yes,
stuff.
because I haven't been
And-
yet.
Yes.
And for next year,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you could have like either like a day-long sort of retreat or just like you said, just come out and see what's going on. But you might, because it is a place of healing. I have a meditation circle, there's a fire pit,
Mm.
there's a lot of space to walk and be in nature. There's a pond, there's you know, I usually set the food up in the garage, just open the garage and I had a group come out, a young woman who teaches Reiki. Her name is Adrienne Ayers, and she's also like my herbal apprentice. She brought her whole group of young women out. They camped. They did a silent retreat. They were just on the land. It was so beautiful. You know, they did their healing work. I didn't facilitate it.
Mhm.
They did what they wanted to do in the space. So that's like an option as well. You know, I don't have to be the one. I can just be like, y'all want some coffee? You know.
Yeah, right. Y'all need some water.
Right, you might need more water, right?
Lemon or lime, what?
Exactly. So there's that.
Beautiful. It's 10:04 and
Okay.
it's been wonderful. So happy.
Oh, terrific. Thank you, Lottie.
Mhm.
Thank
So
you
what
so
I-
much.
I wanted to just
appreciate
share
it.
that I think Lolly, if you would like to come back on and talk about the restoration of the home the work that you did in the home, fixing up, because Lottie is also handy Andy baby. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm not as handy as I want to be, but okay.
many skills. So we'd like to invite you on again. Thank you so much for sharing your life and your journey, Lottie. I really appreciate it, and
You're
I'm
so
grateful
welcome.
for you. Thank you, Mama Evelyn. Because let me tell you, Mama Evelyn was like, it's Tuesday. I didn't make a flyer. I don't have a guest. Mama Evelyn was like, no call, no nothing. bing, the flyer came up. I was like, yes, because I was just saying, I need to call somebody. So I'm so grateful for that as well. That was beautiful, Mama Evelyn.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've heard
Yeah.
good things, such good things about this group.
Oh,
I'll
wonderful.
get
Yeah.
up early though,
Yes.
but it's okay.
Right.
I
Well, we are
also-
so. Oh, go ahead, Mama. Go ahead.
No, I just want to also, speaking of events or something, that on the fourth Friday in this month, which is right after Thanksgiving, Mama Evelyn is, and we're going to be having a make and take party from 8 to grown-ups, 8 to 12 midnight, on Friday night, right after Thanksgiving. So if you got family over at the shop, and we'll have food. We will be selling, not, we're starting our run our business.
Stipend.
Yeah, donation, whatever. We're gonna do something. But anyway, I want to invite you out because we're gonna have a lot of fun. So that's one of them where you call your girls, you call your Elizabeth, say, let's go hang, let's do some fun stuff, meet some wonderful people. And art with Mama Evelyn is really cool. Really is cool. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And it gets done. And it gets done.
Yeah. We have nice
That was the art
music
show.
and stuff like that, and share and love on each other and get a hug and all of that. So that starts at 8 to 12, right after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah. Friday after
I
Thanksgiving.
hope I
Yep,
can.
that's Friday.
The 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Queen, can we share about this coming Friday?
Yes, please. And yes, Friday, Juanita is going to be our guest, and we're going to talk about what's going on. Is it this Saturday, Evelyn?
Right.
I mean, your event is on a Friday. It's not
Friday
on
is
Saturday.
the event. It's only the Zoom event. So that whole day, there'll be other segments going on after we get done on this segment, talking about the healing power of the word, prayer, and testimonies with Star, working with us on that. Then at 10 a.m., my oncologist is going to share information about medical interventions. And then at 10:45, and 11 o'clock, I've got two fitness professionals coming on talking about the healing power of fitness and exercise. And this is all talking about to help prevent, manage, and overcome cancer. And then at 11:30, we've got Beautiful Soul Wellness Spa. 12 o'clock, we've got doula life coach at Peace, Makita. On 12:30, no, she's at 12:30. 12 o'clock, we got Rosa Renee with the healing power of face gain beauty. And then at 1 p.m., we have the healing power of the book Damaged Crowns Still Shine with Luana Kelly.
Yes,
So,
she was a guest of ours.
Okay.
She was our guest one day. Yes.
yeah, so all about the healing power Friday. I guess if I was smart, I'd put the link, but I don't think I'm that quick.
I did put it in our WhatsApp, and I'll make sure to tag Lottie as well.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you. I hope to see you all. I'm looking forward to being with you on Friday.
Sandy Dow show on Mary Grove on Saturday. Woohoo! Sandy.
Oh, the Saturday. Mary Grove.
Mary Grove on 6 Mile and Schaefer.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Terry Howell's movie premiere of They Live in Our Shoes?
I'm sorry. Is it Schaefer? Or is it Wyoming? 6 Mile.
Wyoming.
I'm sorry, you're right. 6 Mile in Wyoming. Y'all look it up. Mary Grove. I'll put the flyers in places. I'm sorry. I'm driving all over the place right now. So and Juanita, what did you say? What else is happening? A play or something?
Well, it's a movie premiere on Saturday what's it, the 25th? Yeah, Saturday the 25th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Terry Howell's, you guys had Terry Howell on. So she's doing the movie premiere of They Live in Our Shoes, and this is based on how 4 of us overcame childhood traumas. And she's going to have some therapists there because it's going to be cathartic. So yeah, another healing power experience.
Cool. I had to have her back on to announce it before then, and you are in, and you, because you're one of the featured stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a
All
full
right,
day.
ladies, it's time to get out of here. Get the day
Love y'all.
have not been to sleep. I think I don't know why I couldn't, but I haven't. So I know I'm a crash.
Yeah.
Okay. Hug yourself.
Oh,
Elbows
yes.
up.
Oh, and hug the world, cause you
The
know
world.
we need it. And sprinkle all the goodness and creativity and love and colors and joy and peace and all that stuff and good sleep and rest. And
All right, y'all.
Show,
And
great
hey,
show.
I
Awesome.
inspired the world.
hey, Rev. Hey,
Yes.
Reverend Omani and Sharonda. Hey.
Thank you all for
Let me see
coming.
where somebody else was there. Lakeisha.
Sharonda was here. Alita was here.
Yeah, Renee.
Yes.
Hi, Renee.
Reverend Monty Grace.
Mhm.
Hey,
Everybody.
Everybody's here.
Everybody.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again.
Okay.
Everybody in
I'll
the
be
house.
talking to y'all soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Peace.
Peace out.